All right, Christine, we're ready to go.
All right. Good morning and welcome to our citrus talk. I'm Christine. I'm a horticulturist over at Rogers Gardens, and I'm here to answer some questions that you guys have on citrus. First of all, we have about 10 or 15 different varieties over here at Rogers Gardens. There is a quarantine on citrus in Orange County and much of Southern California in general. So you'll find a lot of these yellow stickers here, and those are just giving you a warning of what's going on. So you can take your tree, you can plant it at home, you just can't take it from there after that. So a lot of people come in wondering why their citrus is turning yellow, and that's probably the number one question that I get when it comes to citrus, and that is a watering issue. Citrus trees like to be dried out and then a deep soak. So if it's in a pot during the summer, you're going to be watering it a little bit more, but typically once a week. And a soil is another big thing. You want to do half cactus mix and half regular potting soil with some compost on top. There's some worm castings on there. If it's going in the ground, just throw a little bit of cactus mix in to get that good drainage. If it's in a pot, sometimes it's good to put a couple more holes in the bottom just for really good drainage. We have a question.
What is the best dwarf citrus for a container that you can recommend?
I would say a Meyer lemon or a key lime right now is a really good one. We have some in 1 gallons. They look like this. But any citrus really can be grown in a pot. I would just stay away from, if you're keeping it in the pot for many years, stay away from orange, and some of the grapefruits, but they all can be grown into pots. All right, so when it comes to fertilizing, if it's in a pot during the summer, you want to start fertilizing that about 2 months. If it's in the ground, I do it every 4 months. When you're looking at citrus fertilizer, you really want to be making sure that you have the sulfur, iron, and zinc in there. Those are really important for citrus trees. That's what's different between stone crop fruit and your citrus tree fruit. So the first year, a lot of people are like, oh man, my citrus tree produced this green fruit and it's not ripening. What do I do? Well, citrus trees typically don't like being moved. It takes them a while to kind of get acclimated to their environment. So this was grown somewhere else. It's been here now, and now it's going to your house. If you're putting it in the ground, the tree's going to be working on its root system, really trying to get established in its roots instead of really trying to produce that fruit. So I would say about a year or two until you really start seeing a crop. Typically with pots, it can get acclimated a lot quicker. So what will happen is it will produce some fruit. That fruit will not ripen. You didn't do anything wrong, just let it fall, and then the next year it should push out a better crop. Another big concern is people will bring in leaves that kind of look like this. My citrus tree, it's the leaves are folding up, they're wrinkling, and if you look on the flip side, there's actually little trails on the back, and what this is a leaf miner. Leaf miners love citrus. They'll usually go for the new growth, but it's more of an aesthetic thing at this point. The leaves will start to curl. They don't look that great. Citrus trees are really forgiving with pruning, so you can just cut that away. Otherwise, trying to get rid of this pest that's not actually interfering with your fruit or your tree is going to get rid of all the bees and the beneficial insects as well. So you can just let them do their thing. All right, we have a question.
Yeah, one of our viewers is having a problem with something burrowing completely through her Meyer lemons. Is there any topical application that they can use?
Not that I know off of the top of my head. Typically, when you start getting into the fruit, it is going to, like, to try and get rid of those insects and stuff, you are going to be getting rid of a lot of the beneficial insects as well. Another question?
And I think that you brought this up about yellowing leaves, but just we can do it again. Some of the leaves on my Eureka lemon are curled. Is this from lack of food? Also, some yellow leaves from another guest.
From another what?
Another guest.
Yeah, so yellowing leaves. All right, so just cut back on your water. If your citrus tree is in a pot, you're looking at about once or twice during the summer. You want your pot to be dried out and then a deep soak so that that water is going all the way through the bottom. If leaves are yellowing and curling, that's telling me that all the roots are not getting water, so that water and the nutrients are only being sent out to certain parts of the tree. So just cut back on the water. Citrus trees love the heat, and they actually like staying pretty dry, so that should help. Another question?
We have somebody who the fruit keeps dropping from the plant. Sounds like prematurely.
Okay, first I would look at how long you've had the tree. If it's in the first 3 years,
Yeah.
that's pretty normal. I would just keep hanging in there with it. Some people, when it comes to fruit trees, they want their fruit right away, but that tree's just really trying to get established. I would hang on, at least give it up to 5 years until you really start questioning the fruit. All right. So a lot of people have questions about what citrus tree should I get. And, there's not one that's more hardy over the other. Citrus trees just typically, you want to start looking at, like, what do you like to eat? Key limes versus Bear's limes. Key limes are very small. They're what you get when you get a cocktail or a taco to put the juice on. And Bear's limes are much more juicier and plump. First I would look at how much sun you're getting. You want a lot of sun. Pot or the ground, you want your pot size to at least be about 20 inches by 24. And then if it's in the ground, just giving it enough space for its roots. Yes.
I actually got a ton of questions coming in.
Okay.
Again, if you could reiterate how often to fertilize, be the plant in the ground or be the plant in a pot. And then also about talking about soil for citrus.
Yes. Okay. I did kind of just jump through that. So if you're doing it in the ground, what I would do is dig a hole about 2 times the size of the pot that you have. I would throw some cactus mix into that hole along with the fertilizer. And then when you're looking at watering and fertilizing, you want to start watering it kind of away from the roots. Deep soaks. You're going to think that you're kind of flooding it, but you want to make sure that all the roots are getting water when it's in the ground. You're going to use a citrus mix that has the sulfur, iron, and zinc, and you're going to apply that when it's in the ground. I would say about every 4 months. And if it's in a pot, the heat is evaporating that water. So I would say watering is going to look a little more like, twice a week, 3 times a week if it's drying out that fast. And you're going to maybe look at fertilizing every 2 months. If the leaves start turning yellow, cut back on your water.
Does a dry, wrinkled brown leaf mean anything?
What was that?
Does a dry, wrinkled brown leaf mean anything?
Yeah, typically that's after the yellowing stage. What the tree will do is it will kind of actually drown itself, and that will make the leaf completely dry out. So if it's yellowing and then going to dry, you're really, really overwatering your plant. Too much love. They're pretty easy to grow. When it comes to pruning, they're very forgiving when it comes to pruning. So people often ask, how do I prune my citrus tree? There's, it's not like stone fruits or apples where you really have to pay attention to where you prune them. You can take it back as much as you want. You can keep your citrus tree. It's really just kind of the shape that you're looking at. Another question.
And can you prune any time of year?
Yes, I would recommend doing it more in the spring and summer when the heat is going on than in the winter when they're trying to produce fruit.
We had a question from a guest, a viewer, who is wanted to buy a Meyer lemon at another nursery, and they were told that they weren't available in Orange County because of a ban. So could you just expand on that a little bit and talk about why you can get them here?
Yeah, so we are actually out of the quarantine. There is a quarantine on citrus due to the fact that they can carry disease. We are one of the only nurseries in Orange County that is able to sell them. Doesn't mean that your tree has been infected by anything or anything like that. It's just trying to maintain this disease. All right. Well, thank you for watching this morning, and our next live stream will be next Friday, and that will be Late Summer Flowers with Suzanne. All right. Thanks for joining us, and get out there on this beautiful day. Thanks.